This man annihilated an entire family and then led police on an international manhunt. This is the case of the Ding family murders. Welcome to Dark True Crime. The Ding family was made up of 4 members. The family, originally of Chinese descent, lived in Wootton, Northampton, England. The family consisted of Jifeng Jeff Ding, his wife Helen Chui, and their 2 daughters, Xing 18 and Alice 12. Jeff was a professor of engineering, while Helen worked as a Mandarin teacher and translator. Their daughters were both exceptional students and talented musicians, with Xing excelling academically and earning 4 posthumous A grades at A-level star. She had already secured a place at the University of Nottingham to study medicine. Alice and Xing were also violinists, performing with the Northamptonshire Youth Orchestra. The family had previously been involved in a business partnership with An Xiangdu, running a Chinese herbal remedy shop in Birmingham. So who is An Xiangdu? An Xiangdu was born in 1958 in China and later moved to the United Kingdom in 1998 in search of better opportunities. He had a strong interest in traditional Chinese medicine and eventually specialized in the field. Shortly after arriving in the UK, Du met the Ding family, who shared a similar cultural background and professional interests. Together, they co-founded a Chinese herbal remedy shop in Birmingham in 1999. However, financial disagreements led to tensions and legal battles between them. Jeff Ding accused Du of mismanaging funds, which resulted in Du's brief arrest, though no formal charges were filed. The partnership collapsed, and Du initiated a 10-year legal dispute over ownership of the clinic. However, the partnership collapsed in 1999, leading to a 10-year legal dispute between Du and the Dings. After losing his final appeals, Du faced a legal bill of around £88,000, and on April 28, 2011, he was served with a court order preventing him from disposing of his assets. And this made An Xiangdu's resentment towards Jeff lethal. The Ding family tragedy unfolded on April 29, 2011, in Wootton, Northampton, England. That afternoon, Jifeng Jeff Ding, his wife Helen Chui, and their daughters Xing and Alice were brutally murdered in their home. Allegedly, he arrived at the Ding's house on Pioneer Close in Wootton at around 1:30 p.m. It is not known what happened for the next 2 hours. Helen and An Xiangdu were all standing in the kitchen when Shang started to demand money from Jeff. And when Jeff refused, An Xiangdu pulled out his knife and ferociously stabbed Jeff 23 times. He then turned and began to stab Helen 13 times. The attack occurred between 3 o'clock and 4 p.m., and a 999 emergency call was made from Alice's phone at 3:32 p.m., during which both daughters' screams could be heard. Tragically, the call was mishandled, and officers were sent to the wrong address, leading to a failure to intervene. Meanwhile, An Xiangdu had just slaughtered an entire family, decided to lie down and take a nap. If police had gone to the right house, they would have caught him red-handed. He woke several hours later, and just after waking up, he stole the Ding's car and left the house at around 9:45 p.m. He drove around a little bit, searching for another business partner, potentially to go and do the same to them and their family. But thankfully, this business partner either wasn't home or An Xiangdu couldn't find their house. It is terrifying to think that he was on the hunt for another victim. An Xiangdu would drive down to London, where he ditched the Ding's car and hopped on a coach to Paris. He had bought this ticket using his passport, and his wife had reported him missing that day. On the 1st of May, following receiving the missing person report, the police arrived at the Ding's house to see if An Xiangdu was there, but when they knocked on the door and no one answered, just turned around and left. Later that evening, a concerned neighbor went over to the Ding's house just to check up on them, and it would be that neighbor that would find that the whole family had been slaughtered. Police were quickly called, and suddenly all the pieces began to fit. And Shang wasn't a missing person. He was a murderous, dangerous fugitive who they needed to find ASAP. An investigation later confirmed that Northamptonshire police failed to respond correctly, and while they stated it was unlikely the family could have been saved, they admitted that the suspect, An Xiang-du, might have still been at the scene if officers had gone to the right location. Allegedly, after fleeing the UK, Du traveled through France and Spain, eventually taking a ferry to Tangier in Morocco. He continued to Oujda, near the Algerian border, where he was briefly arrested as a suspected illegal immigrant, but released after Moroccan police failed to verify his identity and were unaware he was wanted in the UK. Du remained in Morocco for 14 months, living in a partially built block of flats, sleeping on a makeshift bed, and cooking with a small gas-powered stove. In mid-2012, Northamptonshire police announced suspicions that he was hiding in Morocco. A local newspaper published his photograph, leading a construction worker to recognize him. On July 7, 2012, he was finally arrested. Investigators later traveled to Madrid, believing their inquiries contributed significantly to Du's apprehension. Although there was no formal extradition agreement between Morocco and the UK, the Home Office filed an extradition request. He was extradited to the UK, and on July 10, 2012, officials confirmed that the arrested individual was indeed An Xiang-du. Soon after, on July 19, 2012, authorities arrested four individuals: a 54-year-old woman in Coventry, a 39-year-old woman in Gloucester, a 22-year-old woman in Southend, and a 25-year-old man in London, suspected of conspiring to assist Du's escape. They were later released on bail. Du was tried in November 2013 at Northampton Crown Court, where he was found guilty of 4 counts of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 40 years. This heartbreaking case powerfully reminds us of the need for swift legal action, responsible conflict resolution, and an effective emergency response system. To all who have been affected by this devastating tragedy, we extend our deepest sympathies. May their legacy live on through the stories shared and the love that remains in the hearts of those who knew them